everybody, and welcome to my channel. I'm Mariah, and before I even get into this topic, I just want to apologize for any background noise you hear, any movement of the camera, and any clicking you hear from my laptop. I also want to apologize to anyone that may find some of the views that I read from these articles triggering. I'm sorry about that, but unfortunately, those are some of the views, and I wanted to include them because there's not just a positive side to people that view people with disabilities or special needs. There's also a negative, so I wanted to include those, even though it was personally for myself, it made me sick. Some of these views made me sick, and some of them are going to be hard for me to even say, and I hope you bear with me as I get through all this information, and sorry for any of my mistakes. I always make them. I'm not very good with the camera all the time. I'm also camera shy, and I also have a problem with pronunciation, so you're going to see me struggle with that. Just warning in advance. And today's topic is special needs versus disabled. This video is research based, and in this video I will cover the definitions for special needs and disabled, give examples for special needs and disabled, and explain how these terms are viewed in society. This video is going to be longer than my other videos. All the information I'm presenting is from 4 different articles, and the first article is the difference between special needs and disabilities and overview, and this is from a school in India. I think it's an elementary school. It's from their blog. Speaking of the term disability, it is more about physical and mental inabilities, while special needs are related to learning disabilities. There is one more term, differently abled, which is used for mental as well as physical disabilities. Special needs actually do mean special education needs, as children with learning disabilities need additional support as compared to their peers. Examples for special education needs include social, behavioral, and emotional difficulties, multiple learning difficulties, moderate learning problems, speech, communication, and language needs, autism spectrum disorder, ADHD, and specific learning disabilities, multiple sensory impairment. Disabilities include all the physical and mental disabilities that affect their daily routines. As per statistic, 2.9 million children in India are disabled. Youngsters, particularly children, have complex needs and therefore require assistance. The assistance includes support around emotional, intellectual, or behavioral and health development. Examples of disabilities include physical disabilities, communication disorders of severe nature, developmental delay at preschool, long-term learning difficulties, sensory impairment like visual deafness, blindness, autism spectrum disorder, and multiple complex and chronic conditions. Hence, when you use the term disability, you are apparently talking about physical and mental inabilities, and when you're talking about special needs, it's actually about the needs of the children around managing learning disabilities generally. The second article that I read is from the Washington Post, and it's called "My Daughter Doesn't Have Special Needs, She's Disabled." Jamie Davis Smith is the writer of this article and is a mother of 4. She has 3 non-disabled children and 1 disabled child, and her oldest daughter is the disabled child. My oldest daughter, Claire, laughs easily and bucks the trend by preferring Anna to Elsa, but she has been called special her entire life for other less flattering reasons. She has a rare genetic disorder, autism, and other conditions. She's significantly disabled and requires assistance to do most things. It became apparent when Claire was just a few months old that her life would not be like the one I imagined for her. I was told that she might never walk steadily, that she might never speak, that she would face learning difficulties, and that she would struggle to recognize basic symbols. All those predictions were accurate, and all the needs that come with her disabilities have nearly always been called special. When I was thrust into parenting a child with a disability, I took advice from doctors and other parents who suggested that I describe Claire using using terms like special needs and differently able. I was told to say that she had developmental delays rather than disabilities. People described her as handy capable. I was told to always put the person first, so she was a child with autism rather than an autistic child. Even though her disability and autism diagnosis are an integral part of who she is, I wanted to do what was best for Claire, so I used these terms even though they never sounded right to me. Some made me feel deeply uncomfortable. Many of Claire's needs were not special at all. She needs to eat, get around, be educated, use the bathroom, and be entertained. These things take extra effort for her. She has to be fed, use a wheelchair. She still needs her diaper changed, and going out to have fun often requires careful planning. But the needs themselves are basic and ordinary. There is nothing special about them. The terms differently abled and developmental delay also never seemed to fit Claire. Differently abled made me think of a superhero who could become invisible or fly, and calling Claire delayed made me wince because it made her disability sound like something she would outgrow, which was not the case. Many people, when hearing she was delayed, reacted as if this were something to celebrate, asking if she would one day go to a regular school or be healthy. Nevertheless, I believe these terms I believe these terms to be the best, so I continue to use them, not to offend or saddle Claire with a label she might not want. But when I began to pay attention to what individuals with disabilities thought about the terms and others like them, members of the Autistic Self-Advocacy Network, for example, prefer to be called autistic rather than a person with autism, because they see autism as an integral part of who they are, just like a person that is Catholic or French. Although many individuals with disabilities do feel strongly when using person first, and I continue to do so as a default. Listening to what people with disabilities say about the issue made me realize that it's important to consult them. Other disability advocates, such as Lawrence Carter Long, who has cerebral palsy, and Rebecca Coakley, who has achondroplasia, the most common form of dwarfism, emphasizes the importance of saying a person is disabled. Coakley says the term is powerful because it provides legal protection under the Americans with Disabilities Act. Special and or different needs are not protected under the law, but disabilities are. She also says that parents need to advocate with their children rather than for them. This means paying attention to what their children and people with disabilities want rather than defaulting to the terms they or their children's providers feel more comfortable using. Coakley has written that she is proud to be part of the disabled community, which has a rich history and culture. Carter Long, who founded the Say the Word movement, says that People who avoid the word disabled are not seeing the whole person and say that when parents use words other than disabled to describe the child, they are making it more difficult for the child to assert their rights. He says that the distinction between disabled and person with a disability is important as long as the word is not important as long as disability is a part of the conversation. A need isn't special if other people get to take the same thing for granted, he says, arguing that the using the terms special needs can obscure access to having those needs met because they can make ordinary needs seem extraordinary. He also says that the word disability used to be a diagnosis, but now encompasses a community identity, a contingency, if I said that wrong, I'm sorry, and a shared history. The language we use mirrors the ways we think, he says. Embracing the word disabled, fighting the urge and conditioning and the conditioning that demands we distance ourselves from it is a powerful illustration of self-determination in action. It epitomizes how far the disabled community has come. By deciding what we want to call ourselves, owning it, we claim our power and celebrate the history and community advocacy that made it possible. After nearly a decade of being Claire's mom, I can finally say that my daughter is disabled, and it's liberating. If my daughter wanted me to call her needs special, I would do so. If I met someone on the street with a disability who told me he had a developmental delay, I would refer to him using the term he preferred. But my daughter cannot speak, so I have no way of knowing her preferences. Instead, I'm taking cues from advocates who are disabled themselves. What I have learned is that it is just not okay, but preferable in many cases to call a disability, rather than trying to cover it up with a softer language. Definitions for special needs and disabled, and this is from sorry if I butcher this word, but it's from the Merriam-Webster Dictionary website. Special needs, which is a plural noun, is or means any of the various difficulties such as a physical, emotional, behavioral, and learning disability or impairment that causes an individual to require additional or specialized services or accommodations, such as education or recreation, and this is for students with special needs. Disabled is an adjective, and it means impaired or limited by a physical, mental, cognitive, or developmental condition and affected by disability. And this is the article that is really going to be hard for me to get through, and I'm going to try my best. It's called Past and Present Perceptions Towards Disabilities, a Historical Preference. And this might be the part where you guys want to cut out the video, and that's okay. And this is from the Disabled Studies Quarterly website. Among the Greeks, the sick were considered inferior, and in his Republic, Plato recommended that the deformed offspring of both the superior and inferior be put away in some mysterious unknown places. During the 16th century, however, Christians such as Luther and John Calvin indicated that the mentally retarded or other persons with disabilities were possessed by evil spirits. And right there, I don't like the word retarded. I'm only saying it because it's in the article, just so you know. Luke Off and Cohen now, note that some communities banished or ill-treated the blind, while where others accorded them special privileges. Persons with disabilities were completely rejected in some cultures, and in others they were outcast, and in some they were treated as economic liabilities and grudgingly kept alive by their families. In other settings, persons with disabilities were tolerated and treated in incidental ways, while in other cultures they were given respected status and allowed to participate to the fullest extent of their capability. Among the Chaga in East Africa, the physically handicapped were perceived as pacifiers of evil spirits. Hence, care was taken not to harm the physically handicapped. In some communities in Benin, I think it's how you say it, children with abnormalities or anomalies, I'm sorry, I'm not sure if that's right, were seen as protected by supernatural forces. And sorry if I mispronounced this, but I'm going to try my best. Nagawu, I think is how you say it, observed that among the Abo of Nigeria, persons with disabilities varied from pampering to total rejection. Among the Ashanti of central Ghana, traditional beliefs preluded men with physical defects such as amputation from becoming chiefs. Children with obvious deviations, were also rejected. And I'm sorry, these two next notes might make me really irritated, so I'm gonna try my best to go through them without getting really angry. For instance, an infant born with six fingers was killed upon birth. And I'm so sorry you hear me reading it like that, but it's making my stomach really sick when I read it. And this one too makes me sick. Severely retarded children were abandoned on riverside or near the sea, so that such animal-like children could return to what believed to be their own kind. And I can't say anything after that because I'm going to be mean. And I'm going to continue on with my notes so I don't get mean and say something hateful. And in contrast, the Ga from the Accra region of Ghana treated the feeble-minded with awe. They believed the retarded were the reincarnation of a deity. Hence, they were always treated with great kindness and gentleness and patience. Lippmann observed that in many European countries, such as Denmark and Sweden, citizens with disabilities were more accepted than in the United States. Hansen York, I think is how you say his name, or her name, I think it's a guy though, observed that in some communities in Kenya and Zimbabwe, a child with a disability is a symbol of a curse befalling the whole family. Such a child is a shame to the family, hence rejected by their family and the community. And I'm sorry, I gotta say something. That's disgusting. Okay. And I continue. Thomas sees societal preferences and treatments of persons with disabilities within cross-cultural settings as a kaleidoscope of varying hues that reflect tolerance, hatred, love, fear, awe, reverence, and repulsion. I don't like that word because I don't think anyone should be considered repulsive, but okay. Therefore, throughout Africa, persons with disabilities are seen as hopeless and helpless. And the last article that the last article that's in this video, and the last one I read, research, is called "What Do You Think of Special Needs People?" And this is from the Pro-Raw website. And Sylvia Sinclair responded to this question with, "In general, I will say they are just different. Just like I am different from you. Some are incredibly kind and a few are not so nice." I think her name is Elsia Shuttleworth responded to the question with, I always have a soft spot for people with special needs. I want to mother them and take care of them. I feel that they have a lot to bring to the world and they can show us how we should never take anything for granted. I love how they have pleasure in the littlest of things. Eileen Miller, a educational consultant and a special needs advocate, had been doing it for 18 years at the time when she responded to this question. She says here, they are sweet and very giving. They didn't ask to be born with a disability, yet all they are looking for from people is the acceptance and feeling of worth. They are kind and truly harmless. Peter, I think his last name is Flom, I'm not sure if that's right. I'm just going to call him Peter F. Responded to this question with, we are cool generally. Some of us are jerks, of course, like NT or neurotypical people. Gina Miller responded to the question, they are quite beautiful people. Most see only the good in you. They are trusting. They wish for their idea of normal. They are human beings with needs and dreams, and not one asks for their situation. Special needs deserve the same respect you ask for. I think the name is Bap P. I'm not sure if that's correct, and I'm sorry for the move of the camera. I didn't realize that until I looked back. Sorry about that. Responded to the question. They are going through immense physical and mental pain, digestive issues, speech issues, lack of immunity, heavy metal toxicity, and frustration for lack of communication. Unfortunately, society doesn't have time for people who cannot function normally. Some, not all, special needs people whose parents have the right things lead an okay life and the rest suffer. And the last response is Jennifer Slitt responded to this question with, personally, the difference between special needs people and other people is like the difference between a blonde and a brunette. They are just people. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll post all the articles that I used in the video description box along with a brief video description. I'll post the 2 articles that I read for research that I didn't include in this video in the video description box because I think they might be interesting for you. You might find them interesting to read. As always, I'm open to any suggestions that you have for any future video topics. Please let me know what they are in the comment section below or on my Twitter page, and my Twitter handle is at @BurleyMariah, and I can spell it for you, at BURLEYMARIAH, and I can, if you want me to send you what my my Twitter handle is, I can send it to you. Just let me know. I'm sorry for messing that up. The next video is going to be on how to deal with difficult behaviors when working with special needs kids, and this may include research, it may not. Just just so you know. I hope that everyone's continuing to stay safe. I want you to know that I'm praying for you, your families, and the world. I will post my notes in the comment section for anyone who needs them. Please like, share, and subscribe if you want to and found this video to be helpful. Feel free to share this video with anyone you think might need it. If you want to be notified for when I do any live streams or upload any new content, you're going to want to hit the bell icon and then select the all option under the bell icon. Thank you guys for watching. I love all of you guys. Bye!